This is a heartbreaking scene captured by an Edison. On his way home from work, a man noticed a stray dog frantically running around in the pouring rain. The dog was completely drenched and seemed to be desperately searching for something. As it noticed someone approaching, it immediately became wary. Strangely enough, the dog was entangled in a large fishing net. It had been trying to free itself from the net, but without success. The dog's eyes were filled with despair and helplessness. It seemed afraid of humans when the man tried to approach it. The dog quickly ran away. At one point, it dashed into the bushes, seemingly searching for something urgently. The dog was extremely weak. Its ribs were visible. Just then, it sought shelter from the rain under the bushes. Seizing the opportunity, the man approached and tried to help free the dog from the net. But the dog perceived the man as a threat and reacted aggressively. It used its teeth to warn the man. It was scared of strangers and harbored hostility toward the man. Several times, the man narrowly avoided being bitten. Thus, the man and the dog stood their ground in the pouring rain. Suddenly, the dog ran to the other side of the road. The man braved the rain and chased after it. The dog quickly hid in the bushes again. The man reached out and finally caught hold of the net on its body. But the dog fiercely resisted. It displayed intense aggression. One wonders what the dog had experienced before to have such a strong bias against humans. After another fierce battle, it finally managed to free itself from the fishing net, but then the dog dashed into the bushes. The man took off his jacket and stealthily approached the dog, carefully wrapped it up, and then held the dog tightly, hastily rushing back home. Only then did the man notice that one of the dog's eyes was damaged. Even the eyeball was protruding. It looked like it had been beaten. No wonder the dog was so resistant to humans. It was extremely afraid of the man. As soon as he let go, the dog immediately tried to run away. The man quickly picked it up again and dried its fur. The dog was very lightweight. It felt like it weighed only around 7 or 8 kilograms. Then the man brought some food to feed it. But the little guy didn't even look at it. It seemed to dislike this new home. It resorted to a hunger strike to express its resistance. Helpless, the man had to put it in a storage room and let it adapt to the environment first, facing the unfamiliar surroundings. The little dog trembled in fear. It hid inside the cluttered room. Perhaps the past harm caused by humans left indelible memories in its mind. When the dog's emotions calmed down, the man took it to the pet hospital. After a doctor's examination, it was found that the dog's eyes were impacted. The injured eye had already lost its vision. Fortunately, its body was in good health. There were no major problems. The dog was afraid of strangers and appeared quite uneasy. Then the doctor gave the dog a warm bath. It remained still out of fear, seemingly extremely nervous. The sound of the blow dryer also scared it. It was running around everywhere. You could sense that it was on the verge of collapse. The dog was so frightened and timid. What did it go through exactly? Its pained eyes were heart-wrenching. On the third day, the dog was trembling in the cage the whole time. It didn't dare to leave the cage at all. It hadn't eaten or drank anything for 3 days. The man used dog food to lure it out. But even though it was hungry, it only ate a few mouthfuls in a hurry. Then it crawled back into the cage. The little dog was in a constant state of fear. It was always in an extremely tense state. It would come out of the cage to eat a couple of bites, and then quickly run back into the cage. This repeated for dozens of times, always in a very tense state. It seemed to be afraid of being hit in the next second. Extreme lack of security. Its fearful eyes were heart-wrenching. But the man didn't despise it. Instead, he patiently comforted it. The man insisted on applying eye drops to it every day. But since being adopted, the dog has never voluntarily ventured beyond a 3-meter radius of the cage. It spent more than 90% of its time inside the cage, hoping that the dog will open its heart and bravely embrace this beautiful world. Perhaps it was the man's love that warmed the dog. As time went on, gradually, it became more and more courageous. Finally, under the man's patient care, the dog went from being vigilant to trusting, growing fonder of the man. 1 month later, every time the dog sees the man, it would approach him and be affectionate. It would wag its tail enthusiastically and happily play with its owner. Perhaps this is the best way it can express its gratitude. Under the man's care, the dog became more and more lively. It gradually regained its adorable nature. It even became more and more clingy, following the man closely every day and cuddling up to him willingly. Whenever the man comes home, the dog greets him first thing, happily like a child, unable to contain the joy in its heart. And the dog's injured eye has finally recovered under the man's careful nursing. From this, it can be seen, there are no untrainable dogs. Every dog is adorable. As long as you give enough love and companionship, even the most rebellious child will become the most obedient and well-behaved little darling. May all the little animals in the world receive kindness and care from people. Let's meet again to play chess. See you next time.